What's going on now? So, got asked about announcer Terry Bradshaw. This is a solo. The thoughts of him as an announcer as opposed to he was as a player and everything. Bradshaw is one of those guys that he just outworked everybody. He put himself in situations where you probably you look at him and you may or may not think he belonged, but he makes himself presentable. He's one of those kind of guys that just has a way about being where he gets in where he fits in. He won 4 rings as a quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some people may or may not agree with him as a starting quarterback because there was a story that Joe Gilliam was the better quarterback. Joe Gilliam, black quarterback at the time, and he had a better arm. But Bradshaw, there's a lot of politics involved, but he did the job and he came up big passes to John Storff, Lynn Swan, and Franco Harris, Rocky Bly, and that steel curtain defense. Then he broadcasting for over 40 years, and it doesn't even seem like it. But then he did movies. He was always kind of like he was like the quarterback version of a guy like a Burt Reynolds. Like he was in places and it worked, and he had interest and flip to his career. Um, and just always seemed to like make himself like front and center. It just worked. And I don't put him in the sentence in the situation that he was great as these two guys, but he's kind of like you could almost say he was like kinfolks to Pete Rose and Larry Bird, and that he really loved playing that game. Like he really came up big when he had to. He was tough. He was built to play. Not the most athletic, not the best in any capacity, but he was tough. So saying this to say Terry Bradshaw as an announcer, he stirs the bowl at that when he was with Jimmy Johnson, Howard Long, Michael Strahan, Rob Gronkowski, etc. He had and very opinionated, and whoever else was there, he stirred that he said stuff. He meant what he said. He's been a very opinionated cat, and it's similar in a way to Charles Barkley, but it's more down home rooted. Bradshaw has a way of being very direct with what he says, and just thinking about him as an announcer, he's sometimes he come across like he's in his own elbow, like he's kind of like Bill Waltonism, but he's not like Walt Walton. But you can definitely respect the earnest of him. He's one of the most direct cats, in a very cutthroat business and how the politics and everything is. You can definitely respect how he is with what he do. So,